Sullivan's Crossing's casting news proves the show's moving in a new direction. You ever get that feeling where a show you've been following suddenly takes a left turn? And you're not even sure if you're watching the same series anymore. Yeah, that's exactly what Sullivan's Crossing just did. And let me tell you friends, this new casting news doesn't just add a few extra characters. It's proof the series is officially moving in a direction that might change everything we thought we knew about this cozy, small-town drama. I'll be honest. I was one of those people who tuned into Sullivan's Crossing for the comfort vibes, the warm community feel, the quiet Canadian backdrop, the Virgin River-esque slow burn. But now, the casting shake up for season 4 makes me feel like the writers hit the "let's make it messy" button and just kept going. And here's the question that's been haunting me since the announcement. Is Sullivan's Crossing about to outgrow the very thing that made it special in the first place? Or are we just watching it transform into a whole different kind of beast? Let's rewind for a second, because if you thought the season 3 finale was wild, you weren't alone. That cliffhanger was the definition of a gut punch. After 3 seasons of Will, They Won't They with Maggie Sullivan and Cal Jones, after all the missteps, reconciliations, heartbreak, and drama, we finally got that satisfying, okay, maybe they're actually gonna make it ending. And then, boom, Maggie's husband walks into frame. Her husband, Liam Davies played by Marcus Rosner, waltzes back into Timberlake at the exact wrong moment. I don't know about you, but I screamed at my screen. I said, nope, no way, this is not happening. But apparently it is happening. And now, Sullivan's Crossing Season 4 has doubled down with an entire wave of new cast members. Not 1, not 2, but 4 new regulars added into the mix. Fatima, Jonathan Silverman, Colby Frost, and Emerson McNeil are all joining the show. And if you're already thinking, wait, isn't this show supposed to be about Maggie and Cal? You're not alone, because this feels less like sprinkling in side characters and more like flipping the table and saying, alright, everyone gets drama now. Now, here's the problem, and it's a controversial one. Sullivan's Crossing isn't just a show, it's an identity. It's been marketed, styled, and built up as the cozy, character-driven drama you watch to escape the chaos of the real world. It was never meant to be an overstuffed soap opera. Virgin River has already claimed that lane. Sullivan's Crossing's charm was always in its restraint. And that's why this shift feels like a betrayal to some fans. But before I get into the forbidden knowledge, because trust me, there are secrets in this casting that the showrunners don't want us to notice, I need to pause for a second. If you're watching this breakdown and you're part of the Sullivan's Crossing fandom that refuses to be blindsided by these wild moves, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, it's the only way we're going to track every twist, every casting leak, and every curveball they throw at us. And if you don't, well, don't say I didn't warn you when Season 4 drops and the internet explodes. Alright, back to business. Let's break down these new characters, because each of them holds a key to the new direction of the show. First, we've got Colby Frost and Emerson McNeil playing siblings Ben and Tracy Nelson. They're tied into Lola Gunderson's youth group storyline, which, let's be honest, was never exactly the headline act of Sullivan's Crossing. Now, suddenly, Cal is set to be a mentor figure for these two. And while that might sound sweet on the surface, it's a massive narrative shift. Cal's storylines have always revolved around his relationship with Maggie, his personal healing, and his quiet role in the community. Now, they're pulling him into an entirely different arc. Is this growth? Or is it distraction? Next up, Fatima joins as Amir Malik, a chef with connections to Rob Shandon. And let me tell you, this one feels like a grenade waiting to go off. Why? Because the Shandons have been slowly but surely creeping back into the spotlight, with Sydney Ree entering the picture in Season 3. Amir threatens to wedge himself right between the Shandon siblings. A new face, tied into an old wound, textbook setup for chaos. And then there's Jonathan Silverman, cast as Quincy Carlson, a difficult camper who somehow opens Maggie's eyes to new possibilities. Okay, this is where the alarm bells really start ringing. Maggie doesn't need new possibilities. She needs therapy, closure, and maybe a long vacation. But instead, the show seems determined to throw her into every possible triangle, quadrangle, and messy entanglement they can think of. Which makes me wonder, are the writers running out of ideas, or are they deliberately trying to drag Maggie through the most melodramatic possible journey? Here's the forbidden knowledge part. This isn't just random casting. This is the network strategy at play. Sullivan's Crossing knows it can't coast forever on the Virgin River comparison. Virgin River has 6 seasons and counting, and it's already mastered the art of juggling small-town coziness with high-stakes drama. If Sullivan's Crossing wants to compete, it has to get louder, messier, and more explosive. That's why we're suddenly seeing an influx of characters, love triangles, and difficult campers, who apparently exist to philosophize at Maggie. It's not just a story choice, it's a survival tactic. And here's the kicker. Remember Maggie's original love triangle with Andrew Matthews back in Season 2? It flopped. Fans didn't buy it. The writers knew it, we knew it, and even the actors probably knew it. But instead of learning from that mistake, they're doubling down. They're saying, no, this time it'll work. This time, the triangle is between Maggie's soulmate and her husband. And I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a comforting evening of television. It sounds like emotional whiplash. So let's make this interactive. Quick poll. Drop your answer in the comments. Do you think Maggie should end up with Cal, stick it out with Liam, or walk away from both and finally choose herself? Personally, I'd vote for option 3, but maybe I'm just projecting, because here's the truth. If Sullivan's Crossing really wanted to expand, it could have done so without gutting its original DNA. Remember how Sully, Frank, and Edna left things at the end of season 3? There was room for legacy characters to grow, for community storylines to blossom, for Timberlake itself to feel alive. Instead, they're going for a cast refresh, which feels less like growth and more like panic. And yet, I'll admit it, I'm hooked. Because for all the frustration, there's also this twisted curiosity. Like, how far will they go? How many triangles will they try? How much can they push Maggie before fans revolt? It's the kind of storytelling choice that drives you crazy, but also makes you set a reminder for the premiere date. And maybe that's the forbidden genius of it all. Here's the thing. Sullivan's Crossing has always marketed itself as a healing show. A story about broken people finding peace in a place that feels like home. But when I look at this new season 4 casting slate, I don't see healing. I see chaos. I see producers waving shiny new characters in front of us like, hey, forget about the quiet charm you came here for, look at this brand new love triangle. And I can't help but ask, does this show even know what it wants to be anymore? Let's talk about Maggie. Poor Maggie. She's basically the emotional punching bag of Timberlake at this point. In season 3, she was torn apart by her relationship drama, finally pieced herself back together with Kyle, only to be hit by the nuclear bomb that is Liam, and now season 4 is throwing Quincy Carlson, our difficult camper, into her lap as well. I mean, how many men does one woman need circling her story before it stops being relatable and starts feeling like daytime soap territory? But here's where the secrets slip in. See, Quincy isn't just a camper. Deadline's casting notes say he opens Maggie's eyes to new possibilities. And you don't write that unless you're planning to shake her arc to the core. Translation: Maggie's entire journey, the one we've been rooting for since episode 1, might be ripped up and rewritten. What if she doesn't end up with Cal? What if Liam isn't just a one-season roadblock, but a permanent fixture? What if the writers are secretly steering us toward an ending where Maggie chooses neither, because her new possibilities take her down an entirely different path? Imagine this. By the end of season 4, Maggie realizes she doesn't belong in Sullivan's Crossing anymore. That all the drama, all the pain, all the triangles have pushed her to carve out a new life elsewhere. That would be the ultimate forbidden twist, wouldn't it? The show is named after her family, her roots, her community, and yet she leaves it behind. Unthinkable, but also exactly the kind of jaw-dropping move a series makes when it's desperate to stay unpredictable. Now, let's not forget Cal, our brooding, soft-spoken, slow-burn king. He's always been the emotional anchor of Sullivan's Crossing, the guy who feels like the safe choice. But in season 4, he's suddenly coaching Lola Gunderson's youth group and mentoring Ben and Tracy Nelson. On paper, that sounds noble. But in reality, it sidelines him. Instead of Cal being Maggie's rock, he's being written into his own side quest. And we all know what happens when shows split their leads up too much. You lose the heartbeat of the story. Quick hypothetical for you: what if this entire youth group storyline isn't really about Cal at all, but a setup for the show's long-term future? Ben and Tracy are younger characters, and bringing them in as regulars means one thing. The writers are planting seeds for the next generation. It's like Sullivan's Crossing is trying to Riverdale-ify itself, shifting from small-town romance to multi-generational ensemble. And let's be honest, that's risky. Because while fans love drama, what they love more is consistency. And hey, maybe I'm being dramatic here, but you know what? That's my job. Still, tell me I'm wrong. Doesn't this feel like déjà vu? Remember when Virgin River tried to pile on too many side characters and fans complained that Jack and Mel were being drowned out? Sullivan's Crossing might be heading straight into that same trap. Now, here's where I turn it back on you. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you here for more characters and bigger drama, or do you want the show to keep its cozy roots intact? And if you've been watching my past breakdowns, you know I love keeping receipts. So when season 4 actually drops, I'll be back here replaying your comments and seeing who called it first. Don't be shy. Your theory might make it into the next breakdown. Let's also address the elephant in the room, the love triangle. Actually, let's call it what it is. The love rerun. Because Sullivan's Crossing already tried this with Andrew Matthews, and it flopped harder than a Timberlake canoe with a hole in it. Fans didn't buy it then, so why are we supposed to buy it now? Oh, right. Because this time Maggie's older man isn't just an ex, he's her husband. Her secret husband. It's messier, it's juicier, and it's designed to keep us yelling at our TVs. But here's my reaction statement. Are you ready? If the writers think dragging Maggie through another exhausting triangle will make us fall in love with Liam, they're underestimating us. Fans aren't dumb. We know when drama's organic and when it's manufactured. And this one, it smells manufactured. Like someone in the writer's room said, we need another twist. What if we pull a husband out of nowhere? It's the kind of decision that feels shocking in the moment, but could age very, very badly. Still, I'll confess something, and maybe this is just me spiraling, but what if Liam isn't the problem? What if the real danger is Maggie herself? Think about it, she's been torn between duty and desire since episode 1. She's been running from commitment, from her past, from her identity. Maybe the writers are leaning into that, and the triangles aren't about the men, they're about forcing Maggie to confront the one person she's been avoiding this whole time herself. Okay, time for a callback. Remember in my season 3 final breakdown when I said, this show will either double down on the cozy vibes, or blow everything up with melodrama? Well, guess what? They chose option 2. And if you've been watching long enough, you know I don't let a prediction slip by unnoticed. Let's wrap this up with some humor. Because honestly, Sullivan's Crossing Season 4 might need it. If I had $1 for every time a CW-style show pulled out the surprise husband card, I could probably buy the Shandon's restaurant myself. And you know what? At least then I'd get to decide who gets served drama on the menu. So here's my closing thought. And brace yourself, because it's a little bit of light roasting. Sullivan's Crossing, I love you. I really do. But if you keep throwing new characters at us like a game of narrative dodgeball, don't be surprised if fans start ducking. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes cozy is stronger than chaos. And sometimes, the biggest twist you can give us is no twist at all. But hey, that's just me. Now it's your turn. Should Maggie end up with Cal Liam? Or no one at all? Should the youth group take over the spotlight? Or should Sullivan's Crossing stick to its roots? And are you ready for a season that might rewrite the DNA of this show forever? Drop your theories in the comments, because I'll be watching, and you better believe I'll be back to break it all down when season 4 finally hits. Until then, I'm Sophia, this is Breakdown Epic, and I'll leave you with this: if Timberlake can survive Maggie's secret husband, maybe we can survive whatever casting chaos comes next, or maybe not. Either way, see you in the next breakdown.